New things are a bit scary. You don't know what to make of them at first. And you don't quite know how they'll hold up in the long run. So the natural tendency is to stick to what you know. That's what's happening with innovative building technologies. They are getting mixed reactions from different people out there.
Yeah, before being as nixing up until ubabunchon bamakhela indlu. So because of experiencing ngiyabona le ndlu yakhe before compared to le yakhe manje, I think it's the best.
Ngabeziwiswa lesakudala kwakhiwe lezi izale material entsha.
Actually, what I prefer is to be in the building that is built by the bricks, just because I feel safe.
Brick, it's a no-no. It's an old fisher.
I would be interested in staying in a house which is not built with bricks and mortar, but that I'll have to do my research about it.
In today's episode, we're going to give you evidence to prove that maybe it's time for you to move deeply into the 21st century and use new technologies, innovative technologies, to build your home. This is Breaking New Ground, the show that tells you how the Department of Human Settlements is restoring our people's dignity by giving them quality homes. The NHBRC has set up the Center for Research and Housing Innovation to make sure that if you choose innovative technology to build your home, you get the best and the highest quality. Here's Tihangum Dao to tell you how. Could we start by talking about the NHBRC and what its mandate is with regards to innovative building technologies?
There are so many technologies, many of them coming from abroad into our country. And we need to find out which one is most suitable for the environment called South Africa. And the sister company called Agreement does that part. But we are also in the same space, because when a house gets built, we enroll them, we register them, we inspect them, and we cover them with a warranty cover, the NHBRC warranty cover. So it is important that we also know what we are getting into our warranty cover.
So you run the Center for Research and Housing Innovation within the NHBRC hub. And what's its special function here?
The Center for Research and Housing Innovation is a division within the NHBRC, which with its main focus is research. So we look onto all the material that comes in. If you claim to have a technology, the first place where we'll invite you is come and build it. This is why you see these are the different types, and this was established as far back as 2005. And deliberately we don't maintain it. As you can see, we want to see how far can they last.
One of the things that the NHBRC has set up is the Innovation Building Technologies Database.
Correct.
Could you take us through why you set it up and how it's working?
We call it the NHBRC Dynamic Database, which contains 18 different technologies that we have recommended to South Africa to use. Not only did we do that, we've also added a tool which helps the industry to determine which technology is most suitable to which part of South Africa. And that is important, because if you don't, a technology can behave or perform very well in one part of the country and fail dismally in other parts of South Africa.
What have you learned here that you think is great about innovative building technology?
The advantage of what you see is that you are able to put a house that is as durable as standard brick and mortar in the very short space of time. But there's also an issue of behaving, performing against the climate. Cool, you don't need to heat it that much. So it saves you energy, heating costs. So from a maintenance cost of view, Ibt is proving that I'm worth to consider.
One of the most important aspects of making sure that innovative building technologies perform as well as they should is understanding the geographical aspect of where your home is built. This has not been ignored. Ms. Sharon Kembi is a geographic information systems expert who does this work.
In terms of the South African landscape, we have various soil patterns, and this in turn affects how houses will actually behave in those types of soil classifications, and the GIS systems can be able to help you in determining these soil classifications, as well as guide you in terms of the appropriate methods that you can implement when building in such environments. GIS is an active tool that allows you to map the locations of all the IBT projects that you have available on the ground. So the tool essentially shows you that these are the IBT systems that we have been monitoring as the NHBRC, and over time we'll be keeping record on how these systems are performing on the ground and using some in-house tools that have been developed to monitor these systems. In terms of what I actually do as a GIS specialist, I'm able to get involved in the planning and development stage of housing projects. As soon as a housing project is ready for development, GIS allows you to be able to understand what is being planned for that particular area and what types of soil conditions that are applicable for that area. And once we have consolidated all this work, we then hand over the work to the inspector, who then goes on the ground and inspects the housing quality assurance using this tool. This is a typical site that you would come to after doing GIS desktop analysis in the office. And when you come to the ground, you find barren land. We are at the point now we are communicating with the inspector in terms of the data that we've collected throughout the desktop GIS studies, and he will now be able to make better informed decisions about what should happen on site prior to an IBT project commencing.
After receiving information from GIS regarding what type of soil is on the ground, we are going to go and assess from our guide and manuals what type of foundation is required or is suitable for this type of land based on what the builder is proposing to build. The IBT technology is very viable, more especially in our country, where at some stage you need a fast tracking of the houses, fast rolling out in terms of providing service to the people. Material logistics, it's very easy because the material comes compacted all together. You just dismantle and assemble on site, and then there you go. In a space of 3 weeks, you can have a house.
One of the most amazing things about innovative building technologies is that they are also challenging old notions, such as the fact that you can't build a stable and lasting structure on seemingly unstable ground. Here's a house that proves this fact.
Our first house was a mess. There was cracks inside the house, all over the walls. Even the foundation was sinking. That was not the house. It was not the house at all. We went to NHBRC complaining about the first house.
The Jola house in Tembisa was built on normal brick and mortar, but the house was starting to fall over. And the NHBRC, because we had been dealing with them in accrediting the technology, asked us to come in and help. They said, bring down everything, start from the foundation and build a new house for the Jola family, which is what we did. The technology that we use is based on concrete, and we use panels that hold up the concrete, and that way you get to build much quicker, and the quality of the build is much better. It is much stronger than brick and mortar.
So this is one of the elements of our building technology. This forms the framework for the actual house itself. Over here is our jig setup, which we assemble on site. The purpose of this is that all the components get assembled on site. That's how we get the maximum community involvement in the actual construction of the house itself. So inside the sample house that we've built here at our offices, the all-important knock test, you can see how nice and solid the wall is. and that is the basis of the actual technology. Over here is a little cross-section of what we deal with. And as you can see, you've actually got a cutaway of the boards with a concrete infill. You're reinforcing at specifically engineered centers, forming the basis of the technology itself.
When Sanzo now were demonstrating on their own thing, the street was packed more than they were packed. Some other, they said, hey, Mkulu, hey, they are building your house, you're going to stay in a cardboard. I was worried because putting something which is going to give me a worry tomorrow. On the other hand, there was a word says, you've got masters. Why should you worry? When the building start going, little bit, everybody was so amazed.
We moved in on the 20th of October. I thought I've got everything, but when I moved in to this house, I saw I've got nothing. The house is big. You can move, we can dance on the floor.
During the night, when you pass here with your car, whether it's your truck, that sound, it doesn't reflect that much. And then the small car, it's idling like a silenced Prama stove. You know the Prama stove? Yes.
So the first thing we did when we did approach to build this house, in investigations we did find out that it's a bit of a marshy area. So one of the benefits of our technology is we built on a raw foundation. So the soil conditions actually suited our technology to a T because we always naturally do raw foundations. And with the raw foundation, we overcome the swampy and the poor soil conditions that they had. So one of the concerns when we started erecting the structure is that obviously there's that perception, cardboard house, box house. But as you can see, very solid walls, in fact, stronger than your brick and mortar. With the pre-engineered size of the panels, we are able to create much higher ceiling voids, which gives you the perception of an increased living area. Now, another benefit is the size of the actual walls, so only 112 millimeters thick, as opposed to your standard 220 plastered either side brick house. So you are factually also getting an increase in living area based on a square meter rate.
At times, at the age I am, and then you're getting wonders, you don't know what to say. I look at all these rooms, I feel cry.
Just to add yet another layer for you to be absolutely confident that your innovative building technology, IBT built house, is as good as any house you've ever seen in your life, the NHBRC has teamed up with Agrimo South Africa. Tell me what the organization does.
Our organization, basically, we're dealing with approval of innovative construction products and building systems. We are more of a watchdog over the South African community. We're looking at the non-standardized products, protecting the consumers against the use of untested products in the country.
So what kind of testing do you do?
So the tests that we normally do, say for instance, you've applied for a building system. We look at your product and then ascertain whether is it a subject for Agrima certification. Thereafter, we'll make use of our consultants or we do the assessment in-house. The kind of tests that we normally do are water penetration test, whereby we look at the ingress of water if you've built your structure. How long does it take normal for water to pass through into your system? And then we look at the fire resistance rating. There is the amount of time that will take for the occupants of a house to evacuate the structure before it collapses. And we also look at the thermal performance of the structure, condensation of the structure, energy usage of your system, acoustics. I mean, normally you find that the acoustics varies. You won't be like, you find that some systems might be used in particular instances, but then you can't use them in other construction systems.
So do you work in tandem with SABS? Do you have a relationship, or are these independent bodies that do roughly the same thing?
We come in where there are no standards. So you've got the SABS that is working with the national standards, but then Agrima comes into the fray whereby there are no set standards. Something that's either innovative or it's completely new.
A constructor comes to me and says they want to use this innovative building technology, and they have a certificate from Agrima that says it works. How do I check that that certificate is valid?
Yeah, the first instance is to approach Agrima South Africa, or you can even visit our website, whereby all the certificates are listed on our website.
Having looked at all the innovative building technologies that you've tested so far, is there a reason for anybody out there to hang on to bricks and mortar? Or would you say it's time to actually use the new technologies?
I think it's about time for the general public to go the Agrima route and to consider these innovative construction products. Because what we normally do with testing of our products, we compare the innovative products that the client wants certificated. We compare that to the conventional way of construction. And most of the instances, these products perform equally or better.
With IBT, we can now move away from building houses that provide only shelter and comfort. We can now build unique homes that meet specific requirements for particular individuals.
But the weight is too much. And nokwazi nokuba ndikweqona laa nto yonxele because intliziyo yam iyi-weak gqithi for ndingathathi operation.
The brief for Ms. Didi was take into consideration the condition that she's in. So it's not necessarily a standard designs that incorporates all these elements, but also a design that will accommodate the condition that Ms. Didi is.
Ukuqaleka kwale ndlu kokhiwa kwayo apha yokhiwe ngenxa yokuba uma wayesokola apha engakwazi ukuphuma eminyango ntontoni kula minyango mincinci.
Ibindihlupha kakhulu, bendingakwazi nokuthini, ndingakwazi nokuphakama, ndingakwazi njengoba apha kubhetere apho uba noko ndiyakwazi ukuchopha ngendihlale ngempundu. Bendingakwazi nebhedi incinci, ithi ndandiguquka ndokuwa.
Ukukhiwa kwayo ndandikhona, indima endandibathumela esibhedlele ukuba ambanothatha isize ngoba umama nokuthi measurement yakhe ingakanani ngobukhulu bakhe enzele ne-wheelchair yakhe zikwazi ukuphuma.
Special movements, special space to maneuver, especially the bathroom and all the functionalities from the kitchen into the living, into the bedroom, and indeed the bathroom.
Lakona i-blocks epheleleyo leyo etheso emeso njengoba uzibona zivelile. Emveni koko i-blocks esuka pha iyahaka ingena pha ithi ugqiba kwayo phinde ezilandelayo zonke zingena njalo toti iyofika pha.
Into endiyithanda ngayo le ndawo inendawo ukuthi ndikwazi ujikela ngapha endlini, ndijikele ngapha ebheke, ndihamba ngesitulo phinde ndikwazi uzana ngapha ndihlale nangapha ngela xesha isitulo besihamba, ndikwazi nokuphuma ngegeyiti ke ndihlale ngapha ngaphandle ndibukele.
Let's be clear. For us to get to this stage where we can confidently say, go for it, use IBT to build your home, there have been some successes and some near successes. The successes have proven that IBT works. The near successes, on the other hand, have given us invaluable lessons to make sure that IBT works even better for you going forward.
There are three technologies that we used in Blue Downs. The first one was thin bedded mortar. The second one was the panel, polystyrene based mixed with concrete. And the third one was the steel, light steel frames. The panels shifted out of position at the time. And I think that's when it started now not to output the desired results. Again, the learnings is suitability. Where are you applying this? And as the NHBRC, we started to realize that there's need. Not every IBT is suitable for every condition in the country.
We are staying at Noordkamp. It's very different. There's our 27 houses because it's not about what water and bricks and stuff. It's about what polystry. It's not the same type house. We did go and ask the people how do they feel about the houses, but they said they are happy about the houses of them. But it's warm in the winter, and in the summer it's a bit very hot sometimes, but all the time. But it's hot when it's hot outside. It's also hot inside. But I'm glad for my house, bottom of my heart. I'm really glad from where I come from, and to get this house is I'm very glad. That is my lounge. It's no leaking here. I'm proud of my lounge. That is my kitchen. It's big enough for me. 2 bedrooms. That is my bathroom. I'm happy about my house. That's all.
Materiaal wat hulle die huis begin bou het ek elke materiaal het ek dopgehou. Soos hulle die columns opgesit het, so het hulle aangegaan met die columns, en die columns is die buite muur van die huis wat hulle die konkreetpalletjies opgepak het, ja. In die eerste plek was ek nie tevrede met die trappie, maar toe ek nou in die huis is en my kinders raak groot, toe besef ek nie, maar die trap is eintlik is 'n nadeel. Ek is gelukkig hierso.
Could you just take me through Habitat Modular Construction as a company? What do you guys do? How did you start? And where are you now?
Habitat was started by myself in 2014. And the reason for starting Habitat is because I felt that there was a gap in the market for innovative building technology, but one that is durable and of long-term nature, which has the same aesthetic look and feel as a conventional brick and mortar house that's plastered and painted. We've been able over the last 2 years to roll out at least 150 classrooms and ablution structures using IBT.
How does it compare to bricks and mortar?
On a comparison basis of a single story, standard one brick wall, the insulation of our EnviroWall panel, if the ceiling is insulated and the house is properly built, the insulation in fact exceeds that of a standard brick house. And the reason for that is because the panels themselves are made of calcium silicate boards with a lightweight concrete infill, which involves cement and expanded polystyrene beads. Now, polystyrene beads are very good at resisting external energy transfer into the house.
But most people would say, thank you for that, fantastic, but what happens if a car hits my house?
There are tests that Agrima South Africa runs to compare the structural integrity of these houses with the brick and mortar structure. In most events, the structural integrity of our houses or our classrooms are on par with brick and mortar.
The NHBRC is doing everything in its power to give you and I the latest, best building technologies through the best manufacturers and suppliers. It's time for us to take what is now a very small step to use IBT to build our homes. Thank you for watching. Join us again next time.